What's up, AfterBuzzers? I'm joined with a very special queen today, Leganja Estranja. You already know who this is. We're going to talk about her fabulous life, career. Come on, y'all. It's about to get sickening.
Yes.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, we got the flashing lights.
Yes, we do. We were prepared for your arrival today.
Right, we just needed the smoke machine. That's all we're missing.
Oh, damn. That's one thing I did forget. No. But, oh my gosh, Leganja, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Guys, if you're tuning into the live chat, chat away. We want to hear from you. Leganja wants to hear from you. We have so much to talk about. We have your career. It's all over the place because you're literally doing everything.
Yes,
okay?
I'm like a human twister map.
We're going to talk about, we got to talk about that little show called Drag Race.
Of course.
So Think You Can Dance, your music career, your dance career. There's so much to tell. There's so much tea to spill.
There is a lot of hot tea, so I hope you're ready.
I'm so ready. So first off, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I just drove in from Texas. I actually flew from London and then drove to from Texas to California 20 hours yesterday.
Oh my
so it was
God.
quite the drive, but Little Dabbers was with me, so that was really nice.
Yes.
And then today I went this morning and met with my dance agency, which is Clear Talent in Studio City right over here. And then I went grocery shopping for Thanksgiving, and now I'm here. So it's been a whirlwind of a day already, but I'm excited to chat with you.
She is prepared. I love it. Thank you. I can't thank you enough for being here.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I have a little story, but it makes sense because I have a question for you.
Okay.
So last night I was watching Spice World.
Okay. I think I saw this tweet.
One of the most iconic films ever. I don't care what you say. Fight me. But I didn't realize this movie is like what was kind of like the first time I ever saw like drag. I don't know if you remember the scene, the Spice Girls, the queens of the 90s, they go to this club, this is a gay club, and there's drag queens performing, they're dancing, there's club kids, everything.
Sure.
So I was really wondering, like, on my way here, when was the first time you saw drag growing up? And when did you realize this is what I have to do, this is what I want to do?
Sure. Well, I think the first time I ever saw drag would have been like Tu Wong Fu. Maybe it would have been Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Maybe it would have been a John Waters film with Divine. I definitely was a huge fan of RuPaul from an early age, but I'm Not a Cheerleader is one of my favorite movies. I love it. But I don't think I really saw drag for me until I saw the musical Chorus Line. There's a big monologue in the musical where a guy talks about doing drag and his parents come to see the show, and it's a big emotional moment in the show. And I really connected with that at a young age. So I started exploring drag at like 14. I remember one time my best friend and I, it was on my birthday, we were filming like a movie and I was in drag and I actually like stabbed him in the head as a part of the plot. But he had on like a clown wig, and so I like misjudged and actually like stabbed him a little bit harder.
Oh.
So yeah, so I think I was jinxed to be in drag from an early age. But yeah, RuPaul's Drag Race obviously made it a career for me because before then it was just always like Halloweens and for fun.
Definitely. That's something that's so special about Drag Race, regardless of whatever you think about the show. Like, it's really helped queens become on a mainstream level for sure.
Sure. I definitely think drag has a huge platform, especially now with Drag Race being on VH1. It's, broadened the horizons because back when I was on the show, it was on Logo, which is just a gay network. So I think drag is really becoming mainstream. I think there's so many ways that drag queens are succeeding. So yeah, it's an honor. I think drag queens in our culture have always been pioneers. So I feel like it's my duty to like really use this platform that I've been given for just more than being sickening.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So obviously we know you are an activist.
Yes.
For our friend marijuana.
Yes, Miss Mary Jane.
How did that come about? When did you discover your love for cannabis, whatever you want to call it? And how did that really, obviously that helped shape Leganja as well, right?
Sure. So cannabis became a part of my life at I wouldn't say young age. I would say in high school, probably around 17 or 18. My best friend in Texas was interested in like introducing me to cannabis as a way to like make us more creative. So it wasn't really a party drug for me at the beginning. It was definitely something that I used to influence my creativity when I was in the dance studio. But I wouldn't say it wasn't until college when I moved here to the California Institute of the Arts here in California that I really like discovered medical marijuana. I was seeing a chiropractor because I had fallen during a dance piece and hurt my back really bad. So my pelvis was out of alignment. And the chiropractor, it was just really like abrasive. It was really like, I didn't really feel like it was alleviating the pain. So he actually suggested that I get my medical card. So under Proposition 215, which is also known as the Compassionate Act, because our HIV brothers and sisters fought for that back in California. I don't know the exact date. It was quite a while ago. We have the Compassionate Act, which helped with HIV, obviously, and alleviating their pain that they were going through. But so I got my, Proposition 215 medical license. I started using medicinally, and I really found it to help my pain. It didn't obviously realign my back. I did still have to keep seeing the chiropractor, but it helped with the pain a lot more. And so when I was becoming a drag queen, I knew I wanted to have a platform and a reason to be, an activist, because I think any good artist is an activist as well. So I did. I chose cannabis, and Leganja became my brand, and I'm actually looking at expanding that brand more next year as I move to Colorado to focus a little bit more on that.
Awesome. And how do you deal with like kind of that stigma that still is attached to marijuana? Like it's, I mean, alcohol has been shown to be even more, way harmful than
way more
marijuana.
deaths with alcohol than marijuana. Okay.
But yet there's still that, how do you deal with that stigma that's still attached?
Well, I deal with stigma by being a good role model, by using education. I'm all for us going medically, federally recognized before I think we should go recreational. In fact, I voted on the proposition here in California not to go recreational because there was a lot of hidden laws in there, including transportation. A lot of small businesses aren't able to survive now because of the licensing. So taxes are a lot higher. There's a lot of reasons why going recreational first is not the best, but I think the main one is because there is going to be a miseducation with recreational. Obviously in their dispensaries there are great people, bud tenders who can help you and give knowledge, but I will admit that's it's a give or take. Some stores are really great at that, some stores are not. So I think it's important that if we could go federally medical, that we would change the stigma. And so again, by education, by showing people the right way to use products, the difference between THC and CBD. In fact, I was just in London, and one of the promoters there, he's a runner, and he has a lot of arthritis. And I was telling him, like, oh, you need a CBD balm. And he was like, well, I don't want to get high. And I was like, well, there's no psychoactive effects. Although that term itself is also a little bit antiquated because CBD, which is what I'm talking about, there are psychoactive effects because it makes you feel relaxed, but it doesn't get you high. So there's a big difference there. So I just try to be a good role model, educate people, and while I do show on my Snapchat and Instagram me smoking, and I am known for my cannabis consumption, I think I bring an eloquent, hopefully, speech to the plant.
You're doing it right now. You're teaching me for sure.
Good.
I'm not a smoker, yet I have no, I don't look down on people at all, but there are those people that will.
Of course.
But I love that you're speaking so eloquently, and you are educated.
Yes.
And I think that's very important because I honestly kind of feel like you queens, you have this platform, as you say, and you have all these young fans, and these fans are really taking into what you're saying, and you're kind of like the politicians for queer youth and other youth, not just queer youth, because people look up to you, and I think that's so respectful and so honorable that you are so educated with marijuana.
I try to be. I've had a lot of help in the cannabis community. When I first got in it, it was very homophobic. I had a really big problem performing at Cannabis Cups. But my manager at the time, Kristen Lovell, I remember at my first cannabis performance, she turned to me and I was like, this is uncomfortable. I don't want to do this. And she was like, well, if you're going to be an activist, you're going to have to face this discomfort. So, I was the first, LGBTQ person on the cover of a weed magazine. I released the first openly gay product, which was a tin of joints by the Hepburns. We teamed up together and we called them La Hepburns. We were just, the first openly gay product. Obviously, there's a lot more now, and that's becoming a thing, which is really great to see. But there is still a lot of work that has to be done in the cannabis community and in the LGBT community. So I kind of try to just bring the two together because I think a lot of gay people are getting high.
Absolutely. It's kind of like, who drinks anymore? Like, what?
Well, I think plenty of people do. I mean, statistics show there's still a lot of problems with that, So I do see a future for us for recreational marijuana. I do believe in that. Like I said, I think it's important we recognize the medicinal properties first before we just have it on the streets for fun.
Definitely. So, I mean, you were on this show called Drag Race.
Yeah, that little show.
Yeah. So I'm interested in knowing what was harder, being on the show or kind of dealing with everything after the show? And kind of like how did you deal with that? Because it's like, okay, Drag Race kind of is very quick, I feel like, whereas after Drag Race you don't have to do it, but you have all this just baggage, basically, for lack of a better term.
Sure. Well, they say, getting on top is hard, but staying there is harder. So I would say in the end, it was a really hard process to be on the show, but I do think afterwards is harder if you want to stay in the game. Plenty of girls go on the show and they don't really take the platform and make it their own.
Yeah.
And I think for them, maybe the show would be harder in that situation. But for me, I really tried to stay in the game and remain relevant, doing all different types of things. And that has been hard. I think it's hard to view life as a competition, which unfortunately I know I do for sure. We live in a day of age of numbers and likes.
Yeah.
And so it's hard not to judge yourself against other girls. But, I've learned when you compare yourself to others, you're really doing yourself a disservice. And that every door a drag queen opens is a door opened for all of us. So I think it's really, I don't know, it's a challenging thing to deal with perception from season 6. Obviously, my character was very infamous.
Yeah.
I had a lot of tumultuous times. But, I'd rather be remembered than forgotten. And I think I left a really strong mark on the show, on the language of the show, obviously with all my catchphrases. And, as season 6 has just been put back up on Netflix, obviously we have a lot of these young fans from VH1 coming to Netflix to watch the old seasons, and they don't know my growth. They don't know my story.
Yeah.
They're just seeing me for their first time. And so I have to relive this, over and over, which does get difficult. But like I said, I've just learned to laugh at it, to be thankful that I left a mark, and just to know that, being a part of the RuPaul's Drag Race family, there's something so much bigger. And if you just focus on the negative, then you're going to get ate up with that. So I look at the bigger picture, and I think the show has brought me a lot more good than bad.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all the stuff you're doing, it just made me think of when you were talking Leslie Jones, how she's like just getting into Drag Race, and she's going back and she's saying all these things. She's hilarious.
She is hilarious. I've enjoyed, her commentary on all the seasons, and definitely had some interaction with her on Twitter. She's a fun one.
She's amazing. I love her so much. But I really do think that you made your mark. It's forever ingrained. You are so memorable. And obviously you get this question a lot. You are an all-star, regardless of whether you're going to do all-stars again. And I know you've said in the past you don't want to do all-stars.
Yeah. No, it's just not for me, as an artist being put under those confines. It's just very restricting, and some people really cook well under pressure and others need to slow simmer. So I definitely need to simmer.
Stand by that.
I come from the musical theater world, so I'm used to having lots of time to rehearse, to practice your lines, for it to become second nature, whereas that show is all about, throwing it at you and seeing what happens. So for me, I know I wouldn't do well, and I've rebuilt my brand to a very comfortable place, and I want to do other things with my life. So as much as I love the brand and support it, I enjoy now being a fan and just watching it and tuning in. I can't wait for All Stars. I'm obviously super rooting for my sister Gia Gunn. Yes.
That's
so I just prefer to be on the other side and to enjoy it with everyone else.
Okay, because it's like, okay, I lived it.
Yeah.
Let me just breathe and enjoy it.
I survived it once. There's no need to go back.
So speaking of Gia, so how excited are you for her? And also just seeing her journey and her growth since because you were on the same season together. So how has that been with Gia?
So we met each other on the show. We really had never met each other until that very first day. We walked into the workroom and interacted like complete gay boys. Obviously at that time, Gia identified as a man. I don't even think really ever a man. I think he just identified as non-binary. Okay. But through the process over the last 5 years, I've seen my friend, like you said, really transition and grow into the woman that she is today. And it's been very beautiful. It's been one of those moments where, I've had trans brothers and sisters my whole career as a drag queen, but until you really see the process from beginning to, well, there's never an end, but from beginning to, getting the hormones going, through the cycle work, doing, body work, and it's just there's so many processes of transition. So really being there for all of that has been amazing. In fact, I just came home and she just recently got breast surgery and hip hips and butt, and she looks amazing. Like, she looks incredible, and she looks like the girl I've always known. Like I said, I never really knew Gia as a man. I don't know if she ever identified. I may have misspoke on that. But the show, obviously, on Drag Race had her portray herself as, you know, her boy self and as her girl self. So now that that's not out of the picture, I can't wait to see what's going to happen on All Stars. Obviously, we've had many trans people on the show, but it's always something that comes out towards the end or through the middle of the process. It's never something where someone has walked into the workroom as a full, you know, embodied trans person out loud that everyone already knows of, you know? And I think Gia's going to be the first person to really do that. And I'm excited, and hopefully we're going to see more of that on the show, because I think the show, for me, we've gotten stagnant. We see a lot of the same. It's time to open it up to trans people, non-binary people, you know, bio queens. There's so many drag kings. There's so many different things out there now in drag. So I think that's what Gia's going to represent, and I can't wait to watch her journey on the show and to watch All Stars, because it's going to be gaggy.
I know, because that's the one thing I do love about All Stars. We're getting those queens to be able to redeem themselves, especially Gia. We didn't see her a whole lot on the show when she was first introduced. She got eliminated early, but
By me. Oops. Sorry, Mom.
Why did you do that? No. Ooh, sorry, Gago. And also, this is Trans Day of Remembrance.
Oh,
and,
is it today?
Yes.
Oh, love.
Remembering all our fallen trans sisters, mostly, especially women of color, trans women of color. And
what is it called?
Trans Day of Remembrance.
Well, see, you're teaching me things now. Trans Day of Remembrance.
Give and
okay.
take, definitely.
That's important. This is definitely something people need to talk about in this day and age, you know, especially with our president and all the things that have been going on in the media.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you about that with the whole, the Trump administration attempting to, you know, erase trans. What can we do to fight this? Like, what's your advice for all those trans men and women, everyone under the spectrum? What can we do to fight this? And because I get like very like shaken. I can't even speak right now because it's really frustrating to hear that. I remember when I saw that tweet, was it 2 weeks ago? So what's your best advice for people who are afraid right now?
Sure. Well, obviously I can't speak as a trans person, but I can speak as someone on the spectrum, because I do identify as non-binary. And that is just to continue to have visibility and to be telling your stories. You know, I think by putting Gia on, you know, All Stars, it really sends a big message that trans people are not only welcome, but they're a part of the fabric of our culture. You know, I think that has been one of the problems, is that trans people's stories have been erased. And that's why it's so great we have shows like Pose, which obviously featured an mainly dominant, you know, female trans people of color cast, which was amazing. It's the first time, I think, in history that's ever been done. And we're finally giving these people voices. So we just need to celebrate them. We need to share their stories. You know, the huge thing that just went down with Victoria's Secret, where obviously the woman had to step down, which is like, hallelujah. You know, I think people, when they bring things to light and they really share the stories and they get people talking, we create change. So, yeah, I think that's what we have to do, is create visibility.
And social media has really helped out so much. I mean, there's a dark side of social media, but it's really also helped bring out those things. You see things go viral every single day. And I think it really has helped improve like so much with everything that we want to accomplish in our community, for sure.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
And what's your advice to queens who want to get into drag?
Well, my advice to queens is, if you're new, just stop while you're ahead. No, I always just say to people, if you want to do drag, you really have to love it. It really has to be, you know, your passion. But I think that's true for any job. You know, I think if you're really going to go into something, it needs to be your end all and be all. For me, drag has not my end all and be all. That's dance. So it has been a struggle, financially, emotionally. So, you know, that's why I always try to give that advice in the beginning. It's just because it's real. You know, I think a lot of people will, you know, I don't know, they'll have some cute little, you know, quirk that they'll say or little catchphrase, but I just think it's real. And that's why I always tell people, like, if you really want to do drag, just make sure, because it's a lot of money, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort. And if you want it to be your full-time career, obviously, you know, there are ways to be able to do it financially without RuPaul's Drag Race, but I don't think I personally would have been able to survive this long without RuPaul's Drag Race. So if you're serious, then be serious and take your time to develop your character, save your money, you're gonna need it, and have a gimmick, whether that be singing or dancing or acting. Have something that is behind your persona.
Awesome. Well said. Like, can't just preach. Jeez. Did you ever have to? Did your character Leganja? Did she ever go through anything, like any alterations?
Well, sure. I mean, I for me as an artist, if you're not growing, you're not glowing. Like, So in the beginning, I was rough. I was very like all about looking strange. So I had like white feathered lashes, and I wore tutus from Ross. And I mean, it was a moment to get to where I am today. But I also think where I am today is not where I'll be in 5 years, 10 years. As an artist, like I said, if you can keep evolving, then you can stay relevant.
And you have stayed relevant. So
Thank you.
You think you can dance.
Yes.
How is this? Because this is, I feel like, so you think you could dance, no disrespect to Drag Race. I feel like it's a little bit more mainstream. So how is this experience different from Drag Race?
Sure. I definitely agree with you. So You Think You Can Dance has a wider audience. They're both huge shows, though. So it's hard to judge them on like who's bigger, but I think a wider range of people. And So You Think You Can Dance. So for me, that was amazing. I was able to really reach a whole new demographic as an artist. And the process was a lot different because it did focus more on your talent and less on the stress and the drama that goes down in between scenes.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the kind of environment I need as an artist, to just be able to dance.
Yes.
So I loved it. I definitely have plans to go back next year if and when the show is renewed. I think it's an amazing show. I'm a huge fan of all the dance shows. I'd love to be on Dancing with the Stars. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that one.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Yeah. Because also with, focusing solely on dance, were you at all nervous? Because it seems I'm not a dancer. I don't really know much about the dance world, but it seems like can be, not all the time, but it can be a little bit more gendered a little bit. There's a little bit more gender norms within dance.
Yeah.
Were you at all nervous going into that?
I was. I mean, I've watched the show since season 1, so I knew that my hardest judge would be Nigel, who I think was immediately warm to me from the beginning, which has not always been the case with effeminate men on the show. But I think that's because I had a lot of conviction. I had a lot of guts. I went in there as myself, unapologetic. I did what I always do, which is just turn up and turn out. And I think that, to be nervous in that situation would have just hindered me. So I really just had to go in there and be fully confident in what I was presenting, my story, who I am. And I was. I don't know. It was weird. I thought I would be more nervous when I walked out on that stage, but I just think because I've watched the show for so many years and I've wanted this for so long, I just felt at home.
Perfect. And I definitely think that your talent shined through. Like, it's not about the drama. This is a show. We love tea. We love drama. We love the fights. Okay, let's admit it. But I think that's why you were able to just be so successful, is because it was like just raw talent.
Sure. Sure.
Death dropping.
Top 33, so I'm not going to complain. Next year, I want to get to the live tapings, though.
I'm so proud of you, though. Like,
Thank
that's
you.
amazing. Like, literally, like, look at you. All right.
Oh, hi, Gorge.
Who is that?
Long-legged diva.
Okay. Now she's just showing off.
Well, had to.
Oh, I love it. Were those red bottoms?
No, Miss Thing. She is not dancing in $1,000 shoes. I'll leave that to
I just had to ask.
to my drag friends.
Such a fan. So tell me about your drag school, Leganja's dance school.
Sure. So I formed that 2 years ago with my manager at the time, Kristen Lovell, as a way for my buds or my supporters to get to know me on a one-on-one level and to also, showcase my different talents as a teacher, as a choreographer. So we began the school here in California at the basement of NoHo, which is like 5 minutes from here. And over the last 2 years, it's traveled the world. It's been international. In fact, I just had a sold-out class in London. London at Pineapple Dance Studios, which is a legendary dance studio over there. And it really, it renews my faith in myself every time I teach, because I'm able to give people confidence, and I'm able to really help people see why it is important we move. I think we were all born to sing, to dance, to laugh, and love. I think those are like the most important things you can do in life. And so dancing is a way of moving. And for me, it's a universal language. So Leganja's Dance School has been amazing. And I hope to, continue to travel the world with that. As I move to Colorado next year, I'm also going to be starting my new home base there. So I'm really excited about that. Colorado has always been really supportive of the dance school, but I think now that I'll finally have a home in a new place, it should be exciting because it'll be new.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
I remember when I was asking questions, like, does anyone have any questions? People were like, are you going to have any schools like in Colorado or like Chile? I was thinking like all over the world. And
Yeah,
that's
well,
amazing.
I usually try to link them up with my drag gigs. So that's why it's also been able to be an international dance school, is because of the drag. But I'm hoping this next year that dance will actually take me as the main reason, and that drag maybe will be supplementary.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. And so we got to talk about your music now.
Yes.
Because this won't be a show without music.
Of course.
Okay, so your newest single, we dropped it at the top of the show, Smoke Break. Tell me about this song. I think it's so badass. And it seems also, it's kind of personal, It's kind of like dealing with that paranoia you do on a daily. It's kind of like behind the scenes. Or at least that was my interpretation. So what was the origins about this song?
Well, so I've been releasing music ever since the beginning of my drag career. I started with Legs, which featured international rapper Rai Rai.
Yes, girl.
So,
Slay.
I came out off the scene, I think, with a great single. And so I've really tried to continue to keep up my stamina in the game. I will admit, because I'm not one of the richer drag queens, it's very hard. The music industry is extremely expensive, making music videos, doing the things of that nature. It takes a lot of money. And so it's taken me a lot of time to get to where I am today. Luckily, I teamed up with Big Snow Entertainment, which is out of Atlanta. Ryan Snow, he's an incredible producer. And I've also been working exclusively with Jay Tyler, who was the featured rapper on the first track that I released earlier this year, which was called Look at Me, which was all about like self-love and positivity, although the music video was actually about the racial injustices, specifically in the cannabis community and prison reform. Because again, I wanted to bring it back to my brand and to have a message, because, weed has been legal for white people for forever, but it's people of color that really suffer because of it. So I wanted to put a video out there about that, using the first song, Look at Me. But continuing with the brand and the theme, Smoke Break, obviously, it takes like a backseat. It's behind the stage, very The Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain, seeing, the daily struggles, obviously talking about the times and the eras we live in with Trump. Just needing a smoke break, needing a moment to just chill out. And so I put out a lyric video because I actually wasn't able to afford making a second music video. And I like to talk about this just because, I think it's important people understand that drag queens are not all rich. I think a lot of people think once you get on RuPaul's Drag Race, you're rich and you have red bottoms and you're just like touring the world. But the fact of the matter is I live in Los Angeles. My rent is $2,000. Then you add all the bills. It's another $3,000, $4,000. So money is, it's not just disposable like that to make music videos. So I was really fortunate to find Brian, who made the lyric video that you were playing at the beginning. He's from Peru. And I think he did an amazing job. He totally smashed it. And I definitely have plans to make a real video for the song eventually, as well as drop my entire album, Exhibit A, which is coming very soon. But again, I'm waiting so that I can have, a PR person in place, so that I can have everything in place so that it, really launches into something bigger and better. Because I do believe that I'm going to be taking less, well, I know I'm going to be taking less club gigs, and I'm really going to be focusing on drag in different forms, whether that be my YouTube or on the WeedTube, which is a great platform for cannabis users. That's like YouTube, but better because we can actually smoke online. Sorry, YouTube, I'm throwing shade at you. Just focusing on taking it into a new direction, which I think music has done for me and will continue to do for me. But I am waiting for that moment to really have, dancers and to have a full out, production and full show of just my own music. So we're working there, but you can definitely get Look at Me and Smoke Break on iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Spotify, and Amazon.
Yes, work. And so your songwriting, how is the process of your songwriting? 'Cause
Sure.
I don't know if you're familiar with Haley Kiyoko, but she kind of does it backwards. She kind of writes the melody first and then the lyrics. So how is your personal?
Well, as everyone knows, I'm a dancer and a choreographer. So when it comes to writing and producing the music, I leave that up to my incredible team, Big Snow Entertainment out of Atlanta. Ryan Snow produces the music along with Lee Martin, who's an incredible engineer, and Jay Tyler, who I said was the featured rapper on my first track. Look at Me. I'm just going to keep making sure I say the title and everything so people know to go and get my songs. He and I work really amazingly together. I actually don't write a lot of the lyrics. It's more like we sit down, we have a session about what we want the song to be about. I give certain phrases, certain things that really mean something to me, and then Jay takes those and uses them as inspiration to create the lyrics. So I give all the lyrical flow to Jay because, I'm never going to be one of those rappers who doesn't talk about their ghostwriter. And he's not a ghostwriter. He is my writer. He wrote the whole album. He's amazing. He makes his own music, which you should totally check out. We're both BSC artists. So I think there's a lot in our future together collaboratively coming out. But I can tell you Exhibit A is a really cool album that you're going to love.
Yes.
The songs you've heard so far, just the teasers, if you will. Okay. I've been saving the bangers. They're coming.
Right.
They're coming.
Oh, the bangers. Okay, so we don't have a release date yet?
We don't have a release
okay.
date. It's question mark. We're waiting.
Okay.
You'll have to just follow me and see.
All right. I will. I'm still doing it. So speaking of bangers, that just reminded me of Miley Cyrus.
Yes.
So
good reference.
okay, how this was amazing. The performance. What does that mean to you? Being on stage with Miley Cyrus, all these other queens. And when is this going to happen again?
Right. Well, working with Miley was incredible. She is such a real artist. She was so kind and so welcoming. I actually worked with her in her backyard choreographing for the MTV VMAs. So it was just crazy cool. She just welcomed me into her home and was so appreciative and really, gave a platform to queens. I mean, there was over 30 drag queens on the stage with her at the VMAs. House of Edwards right in the front, Death dropping away. It was amazing. And we also got to go on tour with her after that process, which was really cool. My favorite Miley story is Alyssa Edwards, Justin Johnson, and we created a piece for her to thank her for being on the VMAs. And we did it in her backyard, and it was like a medley to all her music, and we did kind of a contemporary dance to that. And after that was all over, she was so moved. She was like, oh my gosh, I want to sing for you guys. So we gathered around her piano in her house, and she sang for us live our favorite song, which was Pablo the Blowfish. And it was just amazing. It was so, I was literally sitting in the living room of Miley Cyrus watching her sing live right in front of me. It was beautiful. And we definitely still keep in touch. In fact, she just lost her home into the horrible fires that we've been experiencing out here in California. So we just texted about that. But, she's a strong, incredible woman. She stood up for so much. And I know that, with every chapter of her, it's always a renovation and a reprise in a different way. So I just can't wait to see what happens with her. And if I'm lucky enough to work with her again, I would be honored.
Is there any other artists out there that you would dream to work with?
Yeah, my main dream is Missy Elliott. I have a Missy Elliott tattoo. My song Look at Me, there's a reference to Missy Elliott in it. I worked with actually one of her dancers, Comfort Fidoki, on the choreography for the music video, which you can check out on my YouTube. And yes, Missy's just been my favorite forever. She's popular and she's hot, but she's also so much more. She's a metaphor for what it is to be a black female in the rap industry. She also has always, had commentary on certain things like the black female body with her music video Super Duper Fly, and when she wore what people call the fat suit, but to me it's called the sex suit because she looked gorgeous. So there's always a message again behind her music. And even though her music makes people want to get up and shake their ass, can I say that? Shake their butt. There's always some message behind it, and she always wants to give people confidence and love, and so that's very much what I'm about, and I think that we would make an incredible team together. So shout out to Missy Elliott. I'm waiting for you, gal. She follows me on Twitter.
Yeah, and she replies.
She does.
She knows you. It's gonna happen
one day.
2019.
Yeah.
Everyone just keep tweeting
Please.
just to remind her about this collaboration.
Yes.
Collaborations are important. You said
are.
it yourself.
Yeah.
And so now we have to get in some fan questions. Okay,
let's do it.
So let's get into this. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So I need to stop saying okay. I'm baby at cunt paw.
Oh, well.
That was the Twitter name. Asks, what are your fashion inspirations?
Oh my gosh, I have so many inspirations. In fact, just picking out what I was going to wear today, I was just like, what vibe am I in today? I'm in my I just traveled 20 hours relaxed vibe today. But I have lots of inspirations. Obviously, Versace is one of my favorite brands of all times. But, I've grew up in thrift stores. So I love, going thrifting and finding creative, unique pieces that most likely have a story. I love making up their stories, after I wash them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I love designers, of course. But like I said, I'm also just inspired by, individual designers. In fact, I work with a lot of people out here in Los Angeles. My drag designer, Alex Navarro, who I've literally worked with since the beginning of my career. He's a huge inspiration to me. Just looking at what he does, he works right now with Janet Jackson. I mean, he's amazing. So I take inspiration from everything, also not just designers, but like music, dance pieces. In fact, I just saw a piece in London called Young Men, which had like all of these like steampunk army outfits on. It was super cool. I was like jotting notes during the show. So yeah, I try to be inspired from lots of different things for fashion, because I don't think fashion, has to come from a common place like H&M. Like, you can get your basics there, but then you can mix and match with other pieces to make it your own without having to spend $1 million. So
yeah, that's something I love that you say that, because it's also not so much about trends. Like, we always have to be trendy. We have to wear what everyone else is wearing. And sometimes you really just got to experiment with your own personal style.
Yeah.
Be eclectic, just experiment until you find out what you want. And it's okay if you don't even have style, like a particular style. Just
no, it's not okay. You need style. You need style. It's not okay. I need you to have style.
So Kim T wants to know, at Coloring Needle, how do you bounce back after a hard day / time?
Sure. Well, I'm very open about my anxiety and depression. It is something that I have suffered from for a very long time. Cannabis obviously is one of the biggest helps for me, but it's not legal everywhere. So the things that really help me are taking a bath, listening to India Ari, taking my dog for a walk, eating healthy, trying not to smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol. Being thankful. I try to wake up and find things in my life to be grateful for. I try to enjoy some quiet time, whatever that may be, whether that's yoga or watching Netflix. But I think, the most important thing to do is when you're having a tough day, just to remember that there is a tomorrow. You will smile again. Nothing is finite. Change is inevitable. So just buckle up and get ready for the ride.
Oh, beautiful. Because that's definitely something that a lot of youth are struggling with, depression and just anxiety in general. So listen up, y'all, because that's beautiful. Well said. Michael at Godney Del Rey, favorite song to perform, whether it's dancing or drag.
My favorite song to perform would have to be Smoke Break or Look at Me, available on iTunes. No, my favorite song to perform is Work It by Missy Elliott.
Oh, I love it. Yes. And that's for drag and dance, or?
As a dancer, my favorite type of performance would be contemporary. So I like a lot of contemporary artists. The one that I don't know, that's just coming to mind right now would be like Sia. I really love her music. That's like a super reference that I think most people would get. I also like a lot more obscure things that people might not know of, such as the Rachels. I just choreographed to the Rachels recently when I was in Miami for my residency program with Young Arts, choreographed to their music. So it just depends. I'm all over with music. I love music. there's not a genre that doesn't speak to me except for heavy metal and screamo music and lots of house music. I don't like that either. But everything else I'm down with.
And K-pop?
I'm super into K-pop.
Oh
I
my
love
gosh,
K-pop.
Are you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, this is my question, y'all, now.
Okay.
So, top 3 favorite K-pop songs or artists?
Oh gosh. I could do top 3 songs.
Okay.
Artists would be hard for me. What's the one? Bad girl.
CL.
Yeah,
Yes.
CL. Okay, so I love CL's work.
Queen.
I also get compared to like this. It's a boy group that they actually said my song sounded like. Look at me. I couldn't tell you their names because when I say I'm a fan of K-pop, I mean like I like it if it comes on my Apple's like iTunes playlist. I'm like super into it, but it isn't something that I necessarily like seek out or have favorite artists of. But CL for sure, like that definitely is like my favorite like K-pop artist that I would be able to like say that. Is she K-pop? Please
Yes,
tell me she is.
and
Okay,
she's doing her thing in North America.
because there's J-pop, there's everything now. It's like everything. So
I love it. So
what are your favorite 3 K-pop?
oh my gosh, don't turn this on me. Let me think. Girls' Generation.
Okay,
I recommend it.
I've heard.
Girls'
Yeah.
Generation. That's like the best K-pop like group ever. I don't care what anyone
Who
says.
sings the song Whistle?
Oh, Blackpink.
Blackpink. Okay, see, like so that's what I'm saying. Like I have like little singles that I like. But anyways, keep going. Okay.
No. Blackpink's probably up there as well. I'm all about the girls.
Yeah,
Sorry,
me too.
guys.
Of course.
I love the girl
Same
groups.
with rap music.
And let's see. Twice.
Twice. Okay, I don't know Twice.
They're like 9 girl member group.
Oh, I
They're
live for
amazing.
that. I
They're
live for any of
amazing.
the girls that do the dancing. I love it.
You need to. Oh my gosh, I would love to see you perform like the K-pop dance because their choreography
It's amazing.
is intense and
Yeah.
they are trained.
They're like legit girl groups because
Yeah.
they sing and dance.
They
Because
don't-
you know our girl groups over here, they've slowly died. I mean, we still have Dumb Blondes, which I love, and they definitely dance. But yeah, we don't have like we used to. Like the Spice
Yeah.
Girls, although they're going back on tour, but with no Posh. So lame.
So it's a little bit like condensed, you know?
Right.
So that's what sucks. But yeah, where's Little Mix? They're good.
I love Little Mix. That's true. Yeah.
Did Fifth Harmony break up?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know. The girl groups always break up. It's just a part of life.
Everyone wants to go solo. you
Right,
know?
right.
So what are your goals for 2019 now that we're kind of wrapping up the interview?
Sure.
What do you want to accomplish? And what is something that maybe that is going to happen for sure in 2019?
Well, for sure what's going to happen, like I said, is I'm moving to Colorado. I would really like to start focusing on my dance a lot more. Like I want to teach dance every day or at least every other day. I want to get involved in the studio. I want to take more class. I want to get on So You Think You Can Dance. And I want to start my dance company, which will be like a dance theater company. I also want to focus on my cannabis brand, getting my face on products, working up with, different brands, different reviews on YouTube and on the Weed Tube, where I can't actually smoke because you can't smoke on YouTube. Lame. I think I said that once, but it just takes reiterating. So yeah, so I want to expand both of those sides of my brand, but more importantly, I want to focus on myself. I want to get my yoga certification so that I can start teaching yoga as well. And I want to have a house and hopefully a boyfriend and a backyard for my dog and friends that I can see all the time, and just a little bit more slower paced life, because I think, I've been living by the seat of my pants, flying around the world, driving 20 hours straight, coming to do interviews right away. And as much as I love all of that, I just don't think it's allowing me to be the best artist that I can be.
Yeah.
And I think I just need some quiet, some peace, some space, some distance from drag and the constant need to be relevant, to gain followers, to, just be the baddest B word, like I just like,
It's okay. I said the C word earlier.
I know it's true, but I'm trying to be good now because YouTube also doesn't like it when you cuss. But yeah, so for me, those are my goals, those are my aspirations. But as with any year, I set goals and aspirations, and I don't always meet them. I just try to, and I think that's what life's about. Like this year, I wanted to have a down payment on a house and 1 million followers, neither of which I did, but that's okay because I worked towards them, and those were my goals for this year. And every year they change. So next year, it's like I said, to find a little bit more of a peace within myself and to open a new door and see what happens.
Definitely. And you will accomplish this.
Thank you.
I'm saying it now. And like everyone needs time a break too as well, especially it's like holidays, but and it could be a little difficult with the social media aspect and all these expectations, but you're Leganja Estranja. You slay my life. You slay
Thank you.
hundreds of thousands of people's lives every single day because you made such a mark on such an iconic television show. People want more of you and you're gonna succeed.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You've already succeeded.
Thank you.
Okay.
I definitely believe. I just got to get out there and actually, not just walk the walk and talk the talk, but like do it, like live it, be it, breathe it, and so I'm excited. We'll see what happens.
Definitely. I'm so excited, and I'm still following you. I'm gonna just like stalk you.
Well, good. I'm following you too. I'm ready to see what the tea is, so I'll be there.
All right. Well, Leganja Estranja, I already know this, but where can we can we follow you, and anything else you want to plug before we wrap up?
Well, you can see me everywhere. I travel a lot. You can go to my website, leganjaestranja.com, to find my calendar. I am back in California for the next month, so I'll be performing out here in Los Angeles and Palm Springs and San Diego, going to Hawaii before the end of the year, and then back into Fresno for New Year's. But so you can keep up with my calendar on my website. On social media platforms, I'm Leganja Estranja at everything. I kept it really simple. It's already a mouthful. That's LAGANJAESTRANJA.
Yes, I love it. Thank you again so much for this
You're
interview.
so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
This is basically kind of like my first like one-on-one interview, and it's just such a pleasure to have someone that I grew up kind of watching. I watched you on Drag Race, and I followed your story throughout. How many years ago was that?
I know. Don't age me too much, Ma.
I don't want to age myself either. It's been a couple years, but it really means a lot to me that I got to experience this with you. So
of course. I'm happy to be here. I think, like I said, anytime someone sticks a mic in front of me, I hope to just, encourage people to be themselves, to learn a little, and to love a little bit harder.
Absolutely. And we're going to end on that note.
Yes.
It's beautiful. I'm Oliver Drennan. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer, and you better be following Leganja. If you're not, then I will fight you. But until then, thank you again. We love you so much, and we'll see you later.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
From Jay and its tyrant. But I keep on with the timing. Leave it all behind me. Pass me a lighter or light me. I just need a smoke break. Bring me